So the first thing to say is about my colour choice, because what I've got here is I've got the original one that I did from another photograph that I don't have. And looking at it, I think it might actually be the Amazon stick screensaver photographs. But I printed out another few that are similar, but I like different elements of them. So when it came to choosing colours, I've kind of got a bit of a selection. So if you look at what I've picked out, and these are just my kind of starter colours, I've got some of this dark blue, but I've also got some of these real teals because I like this, but I like this as well. So I'm going to, I think, go for this kind of colour scheme with maybe some of this cloud formation. I definitely like the colour of this corn, which is similar to this. So these warm russety colours and the really vivid yellows I like. I did quite like the tree in that one. So I may well go for that tree, but more of this, if that makes sense. And in this one, I quite like the way it leads the eye. So it's going to be a bit of a suck it and see, really, but that's half the fun, isn't it? Putting colour down and seeing what you do and don't like. So first of all, I'm going to think about my composition. I'm going to put that one over there. And I've got just a hard pastel just to draw in exactly what I want. And I think I am going to go for that tree because I've got similar in here and I quite like the way it brings the eye in. So I want quite a low horizon. That's a bit too midway for me. So I think I want it a bit lower and I'm going to have more of a sky. So this is going to be my horizon. And the thing is, for you watching along or painting along, it's about choosing what you like from each one yourself. So you may go for a completely different colour scheme to me. You might want it to be more mauve and yellow, or you might like the teal and gold. So yeah, it's about finding what works for you as well. I don't think you can see that one up there, but I'm going to pop it up there just for a minute. I want my big tree in here. And then I'm going to take some of these sort of shapes and have a bit of a lead in with some bushes. Maybe some little ones in the background. And as I say, I like the way these run, but I prefer the curvy one. So I'm going to stick with that and take that off into the background a little bit. And there's nothing specific about this at all. But I like the way they lead the eye. I think I'm going to have more trees coming down here as well. And then the sky, I think I'm going to kind of make it up as I go along. So I always start with the sky a bit darker at the top, and you'll see in pretty much all the photos that's the way it is. And I am definitely going to go for these colours. I think because in this one, I went for more of the ultramarine sky, more mauvey. I'm going to go for more teal and gold in this one, but it's very similar, as you can see. So it's just another version. And I'm going to leave that one down there just for a minute while I do the sky. So I've got this blue, which isn't quite teal, but I've got this beautiful colour here, which you wouldn't actually expect to see in the sky. So we'll start and we'll see how that works, because as you know, we can paint over it. Now the challenge is going to be not to get green as I come down. But I'm going to want to lighten that up, and I don't want green, so I'm going to go in with more of an orange, which hopefully will kind of bridge a little bit. And this actually gets quite warm around here, almost orangey, which of course is the colour I don't really have, but this is quite a nice one. Not too far off the colour of the paper, but once that's blended with this lighter colour, see, I'm working now, I'm looking at this one and thinking, well, I quite like that sky there. I like that peachy colour. But we are going to make it up as we go along. So I want this colour to come up more to capture that turquoise, but I'm trying to avoid getting green. So let's look at bringing something a bit lighter in, and this is just a pale, might be too blue actually. But once we've got enough colour on, we'll blend it and see what happens. But that makes quite a nice segue between those colours. I don't get green. There is quite a bit of green in here, if you look. But I would quite like to avoid that. I probably haven't got quite enough on there yet to blend it, but I am going to. And we'll see what happens. Ooh. So I need to bring my sky quite a bit down, quite a bit further, but I could get more orangey as I come down lower. But I think I'm going to bring this, because this is right on the horizon here, so it should be down here. And look at that yellow. That is so bright. It's a sort of colour, takes a lot of courage to use, and it's really quite acidic, and I might end up hating it, but we'll see. I'll paint over that tree. It's a bit too tall, I think. Bring that down. And leave that gap for that really light bit there. And that yellow gets lighter. So this, I've got these two yellows. One's very warm and one's very cold, but they're similar. So the lemon's much cooler. And if you have your lemon with your more orangey yellow around it, it tends to make the lighter areas look even lighter, apparently. So my focal point here really is going to be this sunset, isn't it? Some even darker colours down here. And I will go on with the clouds afterwards. So as you know, I usually try and work layer upon layer. So I'll do a whole layer across all of the paper, and then I will come back and do a second layer, and then a third layer. It's just the way I work. Everyone's different. Right, so that's looking a bit dirty, but I quite like the effect. I quite like the effect of the sky coming in like that, like it does in this one. And this is really the one I'm drawn to. So I might, well, I won't move it, but that was my original. I'm going to cut up, I think. So now let's have a think about this horizon. I don't want it to be black. If you look in this one, it's got quite a few different colours, blues and mauves, and this is a really beautiful colour for doing sort of dark horizons. It's like a really dark plummy purple. And of course it's going to work really well with the gold because they are complementary. Right, that gets lighter in there, so I'm coming along here. And here's where I wanted my bigger tree, but I don't want to cover. That's why it's quite handy having this colour paper, because I can leave some looking through if I want. And then I'm going to bring that down this way a little bit. And really, I'm just marking stuff in at the moment. So if I want my trees there, then I'm going to have to bring my sky down a bit further. I've also got this really dark blue, which is nice for adding a little bit more depth. I don't want to do too much with that at the moment. I'm just going to smudge it, and then I can cut back into it again when I come down with my golds. She says, hopefully. Now I'm going to come down here, and if you look, this is really dark at the front of this, where this corn is. Really dark. So the darker you go, the more your gold is going to stand out. And we've got these browns. One's really quite cool and one's warmer. So if I use those together, it's going to give a bit of depth to this foreground. Then if I begin to add in some of this purple and plum, and even the blue, this dark blue, we're going to start to get a bit more variation as well. So I am not, as you probably know, going to be too specific about this, but I want to remember that I've got these in, so I'm just going to map those in a little bit first. That's not my coolest one. I'm going to go with this one. I can paint over it, don't forget. It's just to mark it out at the moment. Okay, so in here, that's quite a nice, it's actually a greeny brown. It's quite a good colour for the underpainting. It looks so dark. I think that's always what's scary, is when you're going really dark, people are horrified. But the darker you go, I think they do say you can't go too dark, because the darker you go, the more your light colours are going to stand up. And this would be a really good thing to do your wet underpainting on. And I want something a bit warmer. That's a bit warmer. Yeah. Not being specific at all. And this lovely plum, just in here, a few places. I want it at the front because it's warmer. I don't want it further back. But as we go back, I've got this cooler. It's still a greeny brown, so it's still going to look like it's receding, but it's a bit cooler and a bit lighter. And then as we go back further, I'm actually going to use some of this, which is very similar to the colour of the paper. And I'm going to begin to introduce some of this mustardy colour. It's not too orange, so it won't come too far forward. It's still fairly cool. Right. See what we get now. I'm going to work from the back forward. Next time someone knocks on the door during the live, I'll ignore them. Right, there we are. Look at that. See, I like the effect that's having, because that to me is looking like the field is going backwards. So I need to bring some more sky down here, and it's not bright down here. It's actually this, it's kind of the colour that I used in corn, but maybe a little bit warmer. So in behind my trees, I'm just going to go in with some of this. Now, what do we do about getting our sky looking better? We're going in now with our next layer. I have left that bit for the moment because I don't think that needs an underpainting because it is so bright. When you look in here, you've got some really quite bright red in there that I'll probably have to go away and find. So let's go back. I like the overall effect. Let's go back to our sky. And I do like this turquoise. And as you can see here, there's some really dark parts of it. In fact, that is actually more this colour. So those mixed together probably even better. And this corner is much more teal. I'm not going to follow it exactly, but it is nice to have something to follow. And then this becomes a lot more turquoise here. And I will go over with the lighter colours. So I'm still painting, really, my sky background. So it's lighter, and then a bit later on I will go over again with something even lighter when the clouds start to come in. I want this to look smoother. I'm going to use my blender and make sure it's clean, otherwise I'm going to end up with dirty marks everywhere. I want to really push this into the paper. And every time you do, you lose some of the luminosity, but you gain some kind of smoothness. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, that's not too bad. I like this actually. I like this colour against that. So my next step is going to be to build up this colour around here and get rid of that paper that you can see through. I don't think it really matters too much what colour paper you work on if you're going to cover it all up, but it can be really useful to work on a different colour if you you know, want to leave some of, if you're working on anthracite and you want to leave some of the background dark, that works. So I want to get a little bit lighter now as we come around this area. So I'm going for this sky. I think I might be too soon with that, actually. I think I'm going to carry on for a little bit with this, which is slightly darker. So if you look at the difference in the colour between those two, one's slightly more orange, this is paler. So I'm going to build up gradually, getting lighter. So I want to join these without turning it green. So I'm going to bring this light turquoise down a little bit. And then gradually, as I take the lighter colour back up, it should blend without too much greenery, shall we say. So I'm going back in with this lighter blue. To merge it, just to blend it around where those two colours join. I'm going to use my blender. Trying to keep the movement of the clouds in the same direction. And I'm going to continue to blend because I want to get a really nice coverage on this sky. So it looks lovely and smooth. And then when I put my corn in, it will make the corn look more textured. Okay. So as we come down here, I'm going to leave that for a little while. I want to bring this warmth down a little. I'm going to actually go back to the slightly darker one. So this is more of a coral. And I can feel now, because I can hear it, that the pastel's beginning to build up. So I'm just building up these layers. But can you see how having the lemon and the warm orange together makes it look a little bit more vivid? And it might look rubbish for quite a while, but we just keep going. This is the thing, I think. It's so easy to give up when you look at something and think, oh, that just looks rubbish. But if you just keep going and going and going, eventually you can get to something you like, she says optimistically. Okay. Well, I don't want that to look like a dome, but I think we'll be able to resolve that as we carry on. So I'm just going to keep putting some more layers in to build that sky up. Don't quite want it that light yet. I'm going to take this darker yellow up further, but you can see how, although I blended it, this is the same colour, but it looks so much brighter now, because when you put the colour on top that's not blended, it keeps its luminosity. Just put a little bit under here. And now I'm going to start with this much lighter peach. It's really quite light and warm. And that's one of the ways we can get rid of this dome. I might even put some more blue on yet. I'm not sure. I'm going to keep blending until I get something I quite like the look of. And by the time I've done that, I will have an idea of how I want to finish with it, if that makes sense, because I do want to end up with colours that aren't blended on here. I think that's looking okay for the wispy clouds. I'm going to come right down and blend this more. Oh, that smudged my trees there. It's going to take some work to get rid of. But it's going in quite nicely to the paper now. Just beginning to get the effect I want. Now, definitely, because this is this dark purple, I need to bring my sky down so that I'm not going to blend it and keep getting it grubby. That was softer over there, that colour, I remember saying. So this warm, it's just a really pale, warm peach, really. So I just want to blend some of that. Might have to make it a little bit warmer. Okay, just using my finger. Right, and then I'll be able to bring that sky down a bit better to it, I think. And I will go back and cut into those trees at some point. So now I've worked my way down and now I'm working my way back up. No plan there, really. It's just the way it's kind of happening. So I've got this really acidic yellow. And I don't want to leave too much of it showing, but I do want some of it. That's looking really vibrant then, isn't it? It has gone a little bit green here, so I'm going to bring that peach down a little bit further. There we are. That might be too light. This is the really light. It's not even a peach, but that's the colour I want around here as it comes into the really light part. And there's quite a bit of orange in there. Look at this orange here. I don't like the way this is still looking like you can see the paper through it. So I'm going to continue blending until I've built up enough. I want to get rid of that texture that you can see under the paper. Yeah, so it's beginning to look nice and smooth. I've got to be really careful not to smudge that purple up. I want to make that cleaner. It's looking quite grey down here now, but this blue does come down further. Look at that beautiful colour. This is a really nice turquoise, but it would just give the feeling of a little bit more light coming through behind those clouds. Cut in a little bit around here. I quite like, and I'm not sure actually at this stage if I'm going to blend that or not. I might leave that. I need to do something a bit more down here. And I'm going to go in with a slightly darker orange. And this I won't blend because I need to get rid of that smudging. If I blend, I will only blend with other pastels. Look at that vibrancy, beautiful. They are really, they're not colours I've used very often because they are so vivid. When it actually comes up, this bright yellowy orange comes up here. There's a bit more of it coming along here as well. So I'm going in with this mid peach. It's quite a bit more warmth out here, so I'm just going to add a little bit of this as it goes into the clouds, and it comes up here a bit more, and it does come across here. There we are. You can see it's beginning to blend itself now, and there's some of that warmth going up into those clouds too. Pretty. Down here it still looks a bit grubby. So I'm going to use my paler lemon, make sure it's clean, to merge this together a bit more. And as it comes in here, this is where the actual real light bit's going to be. Oh, do I blend that, don't I? I'm going to. Yeah, I'm going to blend that. Okay, and this over here, that's still got some of this peachy, this soft peachy coming in here. That is merged a bit with this softer, much softer peach here. These are my clouds. I'm not going white. This is a very soft peach. We've got quite a dark cloud, a couple of dark clouds coming in there. I'm going to try them, and if I don't like them, the question is what colour do I want? And I think I'm going to go with this dark plummy, and that is going to have to be blended. That's quite nice. There we are. That's quite. I'm going to have a little bit, because I quite like these clouds on this picture. I might put a little bit more of that sort of thing in. We'll see, I might go over it. Might be a bit too contrived, so we'll see. This needs to be, I know I said I wouldn't blend. I think I do that every time, so I won't, and then I do. I just want it to look smoother down here. So I'm going back up here with this turquoise just to get a bit of this really dark. It's a teal, a real teal, look. Oh, dramatic. Take that one out, so I'm not following that original one anymore. That's too stripy. It's okay though. That's a bit better. And some of that lovely, lovely turquoise in here. And that is darker than that one. I've got about 3 different values of this teal and turquoise. And that's the next one down. And that just sets that sky back, makes it look like it's in the distance a bit more. Right, I'm going to put my focal point. I'm going to make sure I've got enough pastel down here because it still looks a little bit. And then I am going to go in with my focal point. I know I said I do the corn next, actually. Actually, I might do that. I might do the corn next. So we'll just do a bit more on the sky now, have a break, and then we'll come back and do the corn. I'm working my way in towards that really bright highlight in the middle. I'm just cutting around the tree here now, really. I can go back and put the tree over the top again. Let's go in with my very dark mauve. It's got to look like a tree, doesn't look like much like one at the moment. Slightly different shape. It's slightly more. That's probably a bit better. Don't want too much detail in them. I want them to look a bit tree-like. I think that's okay. And these are much further in the back, so I'm actually going to bring that sky down behind there a bit more, I think. And I'm going to use the lighter. No, I'm not. I'm going to use the lighter warm one. at this stage. Okay, that was coming along behind. It's a little